I'd love to see a lot of teams remove the Mahomes game.
My takeaway is Nick's fired up. Wilds really likes feet. Back to the NBA. How will the new look Nets play in Kyrie's return to action tonight? Wilds got a foot fetish. It's next. First things first.
Wow! Jenna tripling down. Tripling down.
That is too...
Back here talking Kyrie Irving now. The slightly quirky and self-described misunderstood Nets point guard rejoined his Brooklyn team yesterday after 2 weeks away. His head coach, Steve Nash, said he expects Kyrie to return to action tonight against his former team, the Cavs. Here's a very casually seated Kyrie Irving yesterday.
You know, I'm back. I'm happy to be back. And we got some great pieces, and we just move on. And I let my actions in my game speak for itself like I planned on doing. You know, just needed a pause.
There's one, what do they look like tonight? And what do they also look like tomorrow? Look at his press conference and how he responded. So tonight, there's really no expectations because of what you said, Chris. You talked about the big three in Miami and how it was like, it's your turn, their turn, whatever. I think that this team is going to take time for them to look like a champion. Right now, everything is they're overachieving. Everything right now, they're exceeding, you know, expectation. You know, you're going off of muscle memory when you look at KD and also James Harden. Those guys played together. They're familiar with each other on the court. Now you insert Kyrie. That's going to take time. Now tomorrow, I think the big question is, where will Kyrie be mentally? Now, we talked about this. Now, I think this is a guy who's really going through an identity challenge. I don't think it's anything from a mental health standpoint. I literally think it's a guy that's like, who am I today? Do I really love the game that much where I want to continue to sacrifice all my time and put in all the work that it takes to be an elite player? This is a dude that's passionate about other things. This is a dude who's super spiritual right now. So we got to consider that when we have this conversation about the Brooklyn Nets. I do think they have the perfect guys around him, that will be able to guide him along this journey the next couple of months while he figures it out. I say that because James Harden, someone close to James Harden told me, look, James Harden went to the organization and said, don't trade me to Brooklyn if Kyrie's not going to be there. James Harden stood on the table and said, I only want to come if all three of us play together. So when we talk about this sacrifice and we talk about this chemistry, this is a group of men who sat down and said, we know we have to sacrifice. We know what we got to do to get to the next level and to become a champion in the NBA.
Yeah, and that sounds really good.
Really quickly here, Nick, you talk about being our resident general manager, and you think just like a general manager. You're just thinking analytically, and you're also looking at the history of the game. You have to stop it. You got to think about mindset. You got to think about how are these guys wired. There was a point in the last game against the Bucks where I said, okay, these guys have it. Kevin Durant was sitting on the perimeter on the right side. You had James Harden bringing the ball up, dribbling between his legs. James Harden was looking at KD like, are you going to move? I'm trying to give you the ball. And what did you see Kevin Durant do? He waved them off. He said, keep the ball. So when you talk about these guys sacrificing, you got to think about that first. That was a real telling moment for me because I saw Kevin Durant saying, I know you know that I'm the #1 guy. You want to give it to me, but take it and go.
All right, Kyrie Irving back in Cleveland tonight with his Brooklyn Nets. We take a turn back to the NFL on the other side, and the latest with Deshaun Watson. Chris Broussard, thank you very much.
All right, guys.